Former President Trump has announced possible plans to hit John Deere with tariffs. On Monday, Trump told a group of farmers Deere could face major tariffs if the company outsources jobs to Mexico.
Trump has issued a massive threat targeting one of the most iconic brands in American agriculture. But what does President Donald Trump want from John Deere? This isn't just another political soundbite. The stakes are higher than ever, and the fallout could impact everything from local jobs to global trade. How could this shake up the American manufacturing sector? What does this mean for farmers who rely on John Deere machinery? And most importantly, how will this affect you, the food on your plate, and your wallet? Stick around, because this isn't just about one company. It's about the future of American jobs, farming, and the economy. What's happening? John Deere has been a symbol of American farming and innovation for over a century. Farmers, workers, and communities have built their livelihoods around the iconic green machines. But now, a storm is brewing as the company makes a controversial decision to move production of skid steers and compact truck loaders from its Dubuque, Iowa, plant to a new facility in Ramos Arizpe, Mexico. The move is part of a broader trend in manufacturing, where companies seek to cut costs by relocating production to countries with cheaper labor. But this decision has sparked outrage among American workers and drawn the attention of former President Donald Trump, who has threatened a 200% tariff on John Deere products if the move proceeds. Trump's warning came during a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, where he passionately criticized John Deere for turning its back on the workers who have supported the company for decades. For Trump, this is about more than just one company. It's a fight for the future of American manufacturing. The root cause. At the heart of the issue is a delicate balance between cost-cutting and loyalty. John Deere's decision to relocate production stems from the need to remain competitive in a global market. Labor costs in the United States have been rising, making it more expensive to manufacture goods domestically. By shifting operations to Mexico, the company hopes to save money and invest in other areas of its business. But this strategy comes at a steep price. The move has left workers in Dubuque, Iowa, feeling betrayed and uncertain about their future. The Dubuque plant has been a cornerstone of the community for decades, providing stable jobs and economic growth. Losing those jobs could devastate the local economy, leaving families and businesses in turmoil. For farmers, the stakes are equally high. John Deere's machinery is essential for modern agriculture, and any disruption in production could lead to delays and higher costs. Farmers already face tight margins and unpredictable conditions. Adding uncertainty about their equipment only compounds their challenges. Trump's response to this situation is clear. He wants to protect American jobs and ensure that companies like John Deere remain loyal to their roots. His tariff threat is designed to discourage outsourcing and send a message to other manufacturers considering similar moves. The fallout. The consequences of this clash between Trump and John Deere go far beyond one company or community. They could reshape the entire manufacturing sector. For workers, this situation highlights the fragility of American manufacturing jobs. As companies increasingly look to cut costs, more communities could face job losses and economic hardship. The question is, how can the United States maintain its position as a global leader in manufacturing while protecting its workforce? For farmers, the potential impact is just as significant. Rising costs for machinery, delays in production, and supply chain disruptions could make it harder for them to stay competitive. If John Deere passes the cost of tariffs on to consumers, farmers could be forced to pay more for the equipment they rely on, further straining their budgets. At the heart of this issue is a broader question about the future of American manufacturing. Trump's hardline approach to outsourcing has sparked intense debate about the best way to protect jobs and ensure economic growth. Some argue that tariffs are a necessary tool to hold companies accountable, while others believe they create more problems than they solve. Why John Deere's decision sparks controversy. The decision by John Deere to shift production to Mexico might seem like a straightforward business move, but it has unleashed a wave of controversy. The very idea of outsourcing jobs from the heart of America to another country feels like a betrayal to many. John Deere has long been associated with more than just tractors and farm equipment. It represents the backbone of the American agricultural industry. Farmers, workers, and communities have relied on the company's machinery for generations. Now, this decision has created a rift between the company and its loyal base. The Dubuque, Iowa facility is more than just a factory. It is a cornerstone of the local economy, employing skilled workers and supporting families. For decades, the plant has symbolized the promise of steady jobs and economic growth in a region that values hard work and loyalty. The prospect of losing these jobs is not just a blow to the workers directly affected. It is a signal to other manufacturing hubs that no community is immune to the pressures of globalization. At the national level, the controversy highlights the challenges of balancing corporate profitability with the broader responsibilities companies have to their workers and their home country. The move to Mexico might make financial sense for John Deere, but it raises uncomfortable questions about the values the company upholds. For a brand that has built its reputation on reliability and trust, this decision risks alienating the very people who have contributed to its success. The globalization dilemma. John Deere's move is not happening in a vacuum. It is part of a larger trend where companies relocate production to countries with lower labor costs to remain competitive. This strategy is not unique to John Deere. It is a hallmark of globalization. But while globalization has brought undeniable benefits, such as access to new markets and lower prices for consumers, it has also created significant challenges. One of the most pressing issues is the impact on American workers. Manufacturing jobs in the United States have been declining for decades as companies outsource production to countries like China, Mexico, and Vietnam. These moves are often justified as necessary to reduce costs and compete in the global market. But for workers who lose their jobs, the consequences are devastating. In communities like Dubuque, the loss of manufacturing jobs has a ripple effect. When a major employer like John Deere scales back operations, it is not just the workers who suffer. Local businesses, from restaurants to hardware stores, feel the impact as spending in the community decreases. Schools, public services, and infrastructure projects also take a hit as tax revenues decline. Over time, the loss of a major employer can erode the social and economic fabric of a community. Globalization has also changed the relationship between companies and their employees. In the past, many workers expected a certain level of loyalty from their employers. Companies like John Deere were seen as part of the community, providing stable jobs and contributing to local development. But in a globalized economy, the focus has shifted to maximizing shareholder value, often at the expense of workers. This shift has fueled resentment and a sense of betrayal among those who feel left behind. The role of tariffs. Donald Trump's response to John Deere's decision has brought tariffs back into the spotlight. Tariffs are a tool used by governments to impose taxes on imported goods, making them more expensive and less competitive compared to domestically produced items. For Trump, tariffs are not just an economic measure, they are a political statement. By threatening a 200% tariff on John Deere's products, Trump aims to send a clear message to other companies considering outsourcing: keep production in the United States or face the consequence. This approach is consistent with Trump's broader economic philosophy, which prioritizes American jobs and domestic manufacturing over global integration. The idea behind tariffs is straightforward. By making imported goods more expensive, tariffs create an incentive for companies to produce goods domestically. In theory, this helps protect American jobs and strengthens the local economy. But the reality is more complex. For one, tariffs can have unintended consequences. When companies face higher costs due to tariffs, they often pass those costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices. This means that while tariffs may protect jobs in certain industries, they can also make goods more expensive for everyone. For farmers who rely on John Deere equipment, this could mean paying significantly more for tractors, loaders, and other machinery. Tariffs can also strain international trade relationships. Countries targeted by tariffs often respond with retaliatory measures, creating a cycle of escalating trade barriers. This can disrupt global supply chains, making it harder for companies to source the materials and components they need. In the case of John Deere, tariffs could make it more expensive to import parts from overseas, further complicating the company's production and logistics. Despite these challenges, Trump's use of tariffs has resonated with many Americans who feel left behind by globalization. For workers in Dubuque and other manufacturing hubs, the threat of tariffs represents a rare moment of support from a political leader willing to take on big corporations. Farmers caught in the crossfire. While the battle between Trump and John Deere plays out on a national stage, it is America's farmers who stand to lose the most. For generations, farmers have relied on John Deere equipment to plow their fields fields, harvest their crops, and keep their operations running smoothly. But the uncertainty created by this conflict has left many farmers feeling vulnerable. One of the biggest concerns is the potential for rising costs. If Trump follows through on his tariff threat, John Deere may have no choice but to raise prices to offset the financial impact. For farmers already struggling with tight margins, higher equipment costs could be the tipping point that forces them out of business. Farmers are also worried about supply chain disruptions. Moving production to Mexico introduces new logistical challenges, from shipping delays to customs issues. For farmers who need their equipment to be reliable and readily available, these disruptions could have serious consequences. Planting and harvesting seasons wait for no one, and a delayed shipment of parts or machinery could mean the difference between a successful season and a costly failure. Beyond the immediate financial and logistical concerns, there is a deeper sense of unease among farmers. John Deere has long been more than just a supplier of machinery. It is a trusted partner in the fields. Farmers depend on the company not only for equipment but also for service, support, and innovation. The move to Mexico raises questions about whether John Deere is still committed to the farmers who have helped build its reputation. A pivotal moment for manufacturing. The conflict between Trump and John Deere is not just about one company. It is a reflection of the broader challenges facing American manufacturing. For decades, the United States was the world's manufacturing powerhouse, producing everything from cars to steel to farm equipment. But as globalization has reshaped the economy, the country's manufacturing base has been hollowed out. This moment represents an opportunity to rethink the future of American manufacturing. How can the United States compete in a global economy while preserving jobs and supporting local communities? The answer is not simple, but it begins with recognizing the value of a strong manufacturing sector. One potential solution is to invest in advanced manufacturing technologies, such as automation and robotics. These innovations can help companies like John Deere reduce costs and improve efficiency, making it more viable to produce goods domestically. However, this approach also requires a commitment to retraining workers and ensuring that they have the skills needed to thrive in a high-tech manufacturing environment. Another important step is to strengthen the relationship between companies and their employees. For too long, the focus has been on maximizing short-term profits, often at the expense of workers and communities. By fostering a culture of loyalty and collaboration, companies can create a more sustainable and equitable manufacturing ecosystem. Finally, policymakers must take a balanced approach to trade and economic policy. Tariffs and other measures can be effective tools for protecting jobs, but they must be used carefully to avoid unintended consequences. The goal should be to create a level playing field that allows American manufacturers to compete globally while supporting local workers. Farmers and rising costs. The battle between John Deere and Donald Trump has left America's farmers stuck in the middle of an economic and political crossfire. For generations, John Deere equipment has symbolized reliability and innovation in the agricultural sector, helping farmers maximize efficiency and output. However, this ongoing conflict has farmers facing an uncertain future, particularly when it comes to costs. If Trump's 200% tariff threat materializes, John Deere will likely pass those costs on to consumers. For farmers, this means paying significantly more for essential machinery like skid steers and compact truck loaders. The price hike wouldn't just be an inconvenience, it could destabilize operations already running on razor-thin margins. Many farmers are already grappling with rising costs for seeds, fertilizers, and fuel. Adding higher equipment prices to the mix may force some to delay purchases or forego upgrades, potentially lowering their productivity. But higher machinery costs are only part of the problem. The move to Mexico could create logistical challenges, including longer shipping times and higher freight costs. Farmers who rely on timely delivery of parts and new equipment may face delays that could jeopardize their planning or harvest schedules. Timing is everything in agriculture, and even a small disruption can lead to disastrous outcomes. Local economies in peril. The closure of John Deere's production line in Dubuque, Iowa, could have devastating ripple effects on the local economy. Manufacturing plants like John Deere's are more than just places of employment. They're economic anchors for entire communities. When these facilities shut down or downsize, the impact extends far beyond the workers directly employed by the company. Local businesses that rely on the spending power of John Deere employees will feel the pinch. Restaurants, grocery stores, and retail shops are likely to see a decline in revenue, forcing some to close their doors. Schools and public services, which depend on tax revenue from John Deere and its workers, may face budget cuts. Over time, the loss of a major employer can transform a once thriving community into one struggling to survive. The situation in Dubuque isn't unique. It's a snapshot of what's happening in manufacturing towns across the country. The shift toward globalization has left many communities vulnerable, with few options for recovery. For these towns, the loss of manufacturing jobs isn't just an economic issue, it's a matter of identity. The people who live there take pride in their work and their contribution to America's industrial strength. Losing that connection can leave a void that's difficult to fill. Political and economic repercussions. Donald Trump's aggressive stance against John Deere is part of a larger political strategy to appeal to working-class voters. By positioning himself as a defender of American jobs, Trump taps into the frustration many Americans feel about the effects of globalization. His message resonates with those who believe that companies should prioritize loyalty to their workers and communities over maximizing profit. However, the economic impact of Trump's tariffs remains a contentious issue. Supporters argue that tariffs are a necessary tool to protect American jobs and manufacturing. By imposing penalties on companies that outsource production, they say, the government can encourage businesses to keep operations in the United States. But critics warn that tariffs often have unintended consequences, including higher prices for consumers and strained trade relationships. For John Deere, the stakes couldn't be higher. The company faces a difficult choice: proceed with its plans to move production to Mexico and risk alienating its customer base, or reconsider its strategy in the face of political and public pressure. Neither option is without consequences, and the decision could set a precedent for other manufacturers grappling with similar dilemmas. On a broader scale, the conflict highlights the challenges of balancing economic efficiency with social responsibility. Globalization has made it easier than ever for companies to move production to wherever it's cheapest, but this often comes at the expense of workers and communities. As more companies follow John Deere's lead, policymakers and business leaders must grapple with the long-term implications of these decisions. The emotional toll on farmers. For many farmers, the conflict between Trump and John Deere feels deeply personal. Farming is more than just a job. It's a way of life, rooted in tradition and community. Farmers take pride in their ability to work the land, often relying on John Deere equipment to help them get the job done. The company has long been a trusted partner, symbolizing reliability and innovation in agriculture. The decision to move production to Mexico has left some farmers questioning whether John Deere still shares their values. Potential for rising costs and supply chain disruptions adds to a growing sense of uncertainty in an industry already fraught with challenges. For farmers who have built their livelihoods around John Deere machinery, the move feels like a betrayal. This emotional toll is compounded by the broader pressures facing the agricultural sector. Climate change, market volatility, and labor shortages are just a few of the challenges farmers must navigate. The added burden of higher equipment costs and logistical disruptions could push some over the edge, forcing them to make difficult decisions about the future of their operations. A defining moment for manufacturing. The standoff between John Deere and Donald Trump represents more than just a corporate dispute. It's a defining moment for the future of American manufacturing. The decisions made in the coming months will have far-reaching implications, shaping the economic landscape for years to come. For workers, the conflict underscores the need for stronger protections and support. Policies that encourage companies to invest in their employees and communities could help mitigate the negative effects of globalization. At the same time, workers must adapt to a rapidly changing economy by acquiring new skills and embracing technological advancements. For companies, the challenge lies in finding a balance between profitability and social responsibility. While globalization offers undeniable benefits, it also comes with significant risks. Businesses that prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability may find themselves facing backlash from consumers and policymakers. For policymakers, the conflict highlights the importance of creating a level playing field for American manufacturers. This includes not only addressing the challenges of globalization, but also investing in infrastructure, education, and innovation to ensure that the United States remains competitive in a global economy. The role of policy in shaping the future. The conflict between Trump and John Deere underscores the critical role of policy in shaping the future of manufacturing. While globalization has opened up new opportunities, it has also exposed American workers to unprecedented challenges. Policymakers must strike a delicate balance, creating an environment that supports both economic growth and worker protections. Tariffs, like the one Trump is threatening, are one tool in this arsenal. By making it more expensive for companies to outsource production, tariffs can encourage businesses to keep jobs in the United States. However, as critics point out, tariffs can also lead to higher prices for consumers and strain trade relationships. Policymakers must consider these trade-offs carefully, ensuring that the benefits outweigh the costs. Investing in infrastructure and education is another critical step. Advanced manufacturing technologies such as automation and robotics have the potential to revolutionize production, making it more cost-effective to manufacture goods domestically. But to realize this potential, workers need access to training and resources that prepare them for the jobs of the future. Policymakers also have a role to play in supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, which are often the backbone of local economies. By providing access to capital, tax incentives, and other resources, they can help SMEs thrive in a competitive global market. The role of farmers in driving change. Farmers, who stand to be most affected by the John Deere controversy, are uniquely positioned to drive change. As some of the company's most loyal customers, they have a powerful voice in shaping its future direction. By advocating for fair prices, reliable service, and a commitment to American manufacturing, farmers can hold John Deere accountable to its values. The rise of the right to repair movement is one example of how farmers are using their collective voice to demand change. This grassroots effort seeks to give farmers the tools and information they need to repair their equipment without relying on manufacturers. By pushing for legislation and challenging restrictive practices, farmers are fighting for their independence and ensuring that they have the resources they need to succeed. Farmers also have an opportunity to influence broader discussions about the future of American agriculture. By adopting sustainable practices, investing in new technologies, and supporting local suppliers, they can help build a more resilient and equitable food system. These efforts not only benefit farmers, but also strengthen rural communities and ensure a stable food supply for the nation. A new vision for American manufacturing. The challenges facing John Deere and other manufacturers are daunting, but they also present an opportunity to reimagine the future of American manufacturing. This vision starts with a commitment to innovation, sustainability, and inclusivity. Innovation is key to staying competitive in a global market. By investing in advanced manufacturing technologies, companies can reduce cost, improve efficiency, and create new opportunities for growth. This includes everything from robotics and automation to artificial intelligence and 3D printing. Sustainability is another critical factor. As consumers become more conscious of environmental issues, companies that prioritize sustainable practices will have a competitive edge. This includes reducing waste, conserving resources, and adopting clean energy technologies. Inclusivity is essential for building a resilient and equitable manufacturing sector. This means creating opportunities for workers from all backgrounds, investing in education and training, and ensuring that the benefits of economic growth are shared widely. For John Deere, this vision could involve a renewed commitment to its American root. By investing in domestic production, supporting its workers, and strengthening its relationships with farmers, the company can reaffirm its position as a leader in the industry. The role of consumers. Ultimately, the future of American manufacturing is not just in the hands of policymakers and businesses, it also depends on consumers. By choosing to support companies that prioritize domestic production and fair labor practices, consumers can help drive change. This requires a willingness to pay a premium for American-made goods, recognizing that quality and ethical production come at a cost. It also means holding companies accountable for their actions, using social media and other platforms to demand transparency and responsibility. For John Deere, the support of its customers is essential. Farmers, workers, and consumers who value the company's commitment to American manufacturing can play a crucial role in shaping its future. By standing together, they can ensure that John Deere remains a symbol of innovation and reliability for generations to come. The standoff between Donald Trump and John Deere is more than just a headline, it's a pivotal moment for American manufacturing, farming, and the economy as a whole. The decisions made today will shape the future of industries that impact all of us, from the food on our tables to the communities we call home. What do you think? Should John Deere prioritize domestic production, or is globalization an unavoidable reality? How do you see Trump's tariffs affecting farmers and manufacturers alike? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your thoughts.